Elysium is a dystopian sci-fi film released in 2013 starring Matt Damon. It's written, produced and directed by Neil Blomkamp. I only recently got around to watching this film, but it's been recommended to me for some time now. Not because it's any good. In fact, I think it's actually a pretty rubbish film and one that I can confidently not recommend. But it's the world and themes depicted in Elysium that are what we're going to discuss today, because it explores many hot-button and political topics like immigration and transhumanism, but also the Earth being overpopulated by human beings. This isn't a plot breakdown or review of the film, it's just a commentary on the film's central themes and messages from my point of view. In this future set in 2154, the Earth is indeed an absolute Mad Max-style hellhole. Apparently, the Earth is not only overpopulated, but diseased and polluted. There's extreme poverty and unending slums that are patrolled by robot police, which kind of resemble the Boston Dynamics robots actually. They can take one look at a person, scan them, and pull up their complete personal records, including if they have a criminal history. They cannot be reasoned with, and nothing less than complete and total compliance will prevent you from receiving a beating from them. This is the zero-tolerance policy taken to an extreme. The main character, Max, must report to his parole officer, who is, of course, another robot. Bureaucracy has been totally automated in the future, it seems. He has his parole extended by another 8 months, and when he tries to protest and explain his situation, he is told to stop talking. The testimony of the robot police who reported violent and antisocial behavior is believed without question. The parole officer robot notices Max's heart rate goes up and he immediately offers him a pill. When Max makes fun of how the robot talks, the robot detects his sarcasm as a form of abuse. The system considers itself to be infallible, and humans are merely like cattle to be managed by the machines on behalf of the elites. Speaking of the elites, the well-heeled in society have left Earth, and they now reside on a massive orbital space station, an idyllic and beautiful paradise called Elysium, where the population enjoy advanced healthcare in the form of medbays, which can cure any ailment within seconds. But you have to be a citizen of Elysium first, which requires an ID stamp on your arm. The film also deals with the theme of worker exploitation. Max is told by his boss to fix something in the factory he works in, and that requires him to disregard health and safety protocols and take a serious risk to his health. In so doing, he is exposed to a lethal dose of radiation. He's given 5 days to live and just enough medication to mitigate his symptoms for that period. There's no compassion, empathy, concern, or humanity, just cold, profit-seeking brutality. One of Max's underworld associates by the name of Spider promises him passage to Elysium on a ship in exchange for retrieving data directly from the brain of the CEO of Armandine Corporation, a man named John Carlyle. Max undergoes a procedure where he has an exoskeleton installed that allows him to not only move around uninhibited by his ailing health, but also gives him enormous physical strength, the transhumanist component of the story. Max eventually has the data transferred to his own brain. He intends to use this to gain entry to Elysium so he can use a medbay and heal himself. The issue really is that life is so utterly dystopian on Earth, it's hard to believe that Max would ever want to fight for the awful life he's currently living. Most of humanity lives in utter squalor, which I believe is what the elites want for us anyway, and it's a life completely devoid of meaning and hope. Suffice to say, everyone on Earth dreams of getting to Elysium, where the living is good, while the elites want to keep the station all to themselves. Max and a female friend and her sick daughter are kidnapped and taken to Elysium by an operative and his henchmen. So that was pretty handy, and the rest of the film is standard action fights and shootouts with a Terminator-style showdown between Max and the Black Ops agent named Kruger, played by Sharlto Copley. Although Max's primary motivation through the film was his own self-preservation and desire to restore his health, he ultimately sacrifices himself so that everyone on Earth can be made citizens of Elysium and medbays can be automatically dispatched to Earth to heal the sick. Generally speaking, I'm against dystopian science fiction unless it serves as a warning against the potential for authoritarianism or totalitarianism. Elysium is not an especially enjoyable watch. The Earth depicted in the future is one devoid of hope and humanity. where we are governed by authoritarian rule through the use of robots. White people also appear to be an absolute minority in this Los Angeles of 2154, and some people look at this story as an allegory for mass immigration into the West, with the space station of Elysium this time being the Western world of the future. But down on Earth, the characters live in slums, in a failed and impoverished society, held together only by the oppressive nature of the technocratic force that rules them. Crime, gangsterism, and the worst aspects of humanity are everywhere to see. The world presented here is riddled with the maladies and global problems that we are regularly told to be concerned about by politicians and the media: environmentalism, overpopulation, immigration, and disease. Because the Earth depicted in Elysium is unpleasant and nightmarish, and because none of the characters in the film are really all that fleshed out, I genuinely didn't really care all that much for their motivations or their journey. Matt Damon does a decent job with the character of Max, and clearly Max is a character that one can have sympathy for, but all we really know about him is that he has dreamed of going to Elysium since he was a child, and that he has grown up to have a criminal record. That's about it. All of the social and political issues that have decimated planet Earth are not dealt with. No solutions are offered, except get to the technological utopia of Elysium at all costs and leave the broken and battered planet Earth behind.